Hello, this is Recovery Diaries in Depth. I'm your host, Gabe Nathan. Thanks so much for joining us. We're very happy to have you here. We are so excited to have on our show today Paul Curreri. Paul was an internationally heralded guitarist and singer, releasing 9 albums under his own name and producing many more for other artists. In 2013, he developed an issue with his hands that made guitar playing almost impossible. Shortly thereafter, he quit drinking. These days, he teaches painting, makes videos, runs sound, plays with synthesizers, and produces records for others. Twice a month, he and his wife post a song on Patreon, Devin and Paul. Each week, we'll bring you a Recovery Diaries contributor, folks who have shared their mental health journey with us through essay or video format. We want to see where they are on their mental health journey since initially being published on our website. Our goal is to continue supporting our diverse community by having conversations here on our podcast to follow up and see what has shifted, what has changed, and what new things have emerged. We're so happy to have you along for this journey. We want to remind you to follow our show for new and back episodes at recoverydiaries.org. There, like the podcast, you'll find stories of mental health, empowerment, and change. You can also sign up for our mailing list there so you never miss a new podcast episode, essay, or film. And you can find this podcast pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. We appreciate your comments and feedback about our show. It helps us improve, make changes, and grow. And of course, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Paul Curreri, welcome to Recovery Diaries in Depth. It's a delight to have you here.
I appreciate it, Gabe. Nice to be here.
Well, I appreciate you. And I just want to say, you wrote an absolutely wonderful and honest and beautiful essay for us. I think we published it back in 2018, and I was the editor working on the piece way back when. And I just want to tell you, I loved working with you. And I was rereading it again this morning and last night to kind of get reacquainted with the essay and with you. And not everybody who comes to Recovery Diaries to tell their story is a great writer, but you really are. And it was just so wonderful to spend time again with the piece and really just enjoy your talent.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You said something really interesting in the essay that I want to start with. You said, okay, so it's been 5 years of sobriety. You had that kind of last drink in 2013, and then you were writing this essay in 2018. Mm-hmm. And you said, I was thinking about writing something, and you were exploring, feeling conflicted about it. And you're like, what if I don't want to be your husband's inspiration? I think it was something like that. And I was so struck by that line because I was thinking to myself, God, who would want to inspire somebody else? But I also get it because it's a weight and it's a responsibility. And it's like, does it have to be me kind of question? And I just would love to hear you talk about wrestling with that thought and that notion and what you were thinking then and maybe what you think now.
That's a great question. And I'm looking forward to reading this piece as well. I haven't reacquainted myself with it. I'm
so glad. I love that you're going to be re-exploring it kind of organically here.
I remember feeling that way that you've described. It's been 13 years now for me.
Congratulations.
Just a week ago, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I don't just think that it was the responsibility or want to. I think that like so many things, I had built up stories around myself. And I think that I had built up stories around people who didn't drink. And I just didn't want to be part of that club. I had too many associations that those people were shiny. Oh, those people were driving their kids happily to school at 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't. I understood my relationship with alcohol a lot more than I understood those people. And I was letting go of so much in my life at that point. I had, for those that, most that probably don't know, I was a musician, and all of a sudden one day I woke up and my hand hurt a little bit. And within 6 months, both of my arms had stopped working. And it took 10 years for that to go away. So I lost like all of my music clients. I could no longer play guitar within 6 months. I had to cancel all my touring. By the end of it, I could no longer hold down a key of a keyboard. It was eventually diagnosed as something called tension myositis syndrome, which is now called like the mind-body syndrome, which is essentially emotion creating new neural pathways for pain. And
Wow.
And that it is easier for your body to send out warning signals, and it becomes more of a habit to send out warning signals than it does. It's easier for it to do that than to actually deal with the emotions, or it thinks it is. So as soon as I got diagnosed with that, about 80% of my 10-year-long pain went away within about 2 months, just knowing that I wasn't being injured by this pain, that there was nothing physiological inside of me that was going wrong. Anyway, so I stopped drinking. So anyway, my hands all went. And then about 2 months after that, I hit a rough spot with my wife of 7 years. And that was the night I just poured the beer down the drain, just right then. And I think as the piece will probably talk about, I had no intention of sitting here talking to you 13 years later. It was just that I wanted to be available for that conversation that we were going to have at that moment. And then it just was like, all right, I'm not going to drink today and probably not tomorrow. And that was it. I'm not going to drink today and probably not tomorrow. And just kept going and going and going. And I'm sure that the piece is going to make mention of the thing that I remember most about that period was the excitement. Oh, it's like a new toy. Did you hear? Paul's not drinking? Aren't we so proud of Paul not drinking? And everybody's like, you know, and then it gets later and the party ends and, yeah, okay, hey, is Paul still not drinking? And people get on with their lives and you're just still not drinking. And on top of it, now they assume you're not drinking. Mm-hmm. It's the assumption. You don't even get credit for it anymore. And man, I don't know. I'm just kind of going on. I haven't thought, Gabe, to tell you the truth, I haven't thought about some of these early issues in a while. And I think that is a blessing to some degree.
So it is a blessing, but I'm also, see, now I'm concerned. Now I want to like take care of you and feel guilty that I'm kind of like rebringing you to this place. Because so I have an anxiety disorder and I'm anxious about everything. Right. So now I'm like, I'm anxious about Paul. I'm like, oh shit, you know, maybe we shouldn't be doing this interview. Maybe this isn't good. I hope Paul has support after the interview's over and like on and on. And obviously I know you're perfectly capable of like taking care of yourself and processing all of this. But oh my God, you said so many things that I want to like grab onto. One thing you said, I think I understood alcohol better than I understood people. Do you feel like alcohol understood you? Did you feel understood? Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, I don't know.
Like I can't go to anybody with this, but I can go to my drink. Do you know what I mean? Like I nobody understands what I'm going through, but I can reach for this.
Yes. I mean, it worked in the moment, of course, almost every time. Although sometimes the moment would be working so well, I would continue the moment until the point that it didn't work anymore. Even an hour later, you know, and suddenly then the emotions are all going wild. I'm no different than anybody else. It just kind of snuck up, you know, and my lifestyle, being a musician, surrounded by other musicians in a young part of my life where my body could also keep up with it for a really long time. Like it all just allowed it to continue and continue and continue. And I gathered myself a nice big tolerance, you know, that in many ways allowed me to navigate it relatively easily and be functional. I was never a day drinker, but I was a 1 to 2 bottle a night of wine drinker for I don't know how long, 15, 20 years. And so, yeah, and that just stopped cold turkey. I didn't want life without it. Like I wanted to be able to figure out life with it. And I think that I still wish that. I still wish that I could have like 2 glasses of wine a night. I don't think I wish I could have 1. That sounds ridiculous. But I wish I could have 2. But it's so much easier to say no than sometimes. I suck at sometimes. Yeah. I'm so bad at it. There's always a reason. And especially if you have so much anxiety. Oh my God, there's always a reason.
My therapist has actually encouraged me to drink, not to drink, but right. Like I am 0 and have been my entire life. I have never drank ever. And I think it's part of my anxiety disorder and like obsessive compulsive like tendencies to be so afraid of what could happen to me if I do this one time, that this could lead to, a life of alcoholism or God knows what.
Were your parents alcoholics?
No, not at all. And so that's like,
right.
It's anxiety, Paul. Do you know what I mean? Like there's really no basis in reality for the fear, but the fear is there. And so I went to one of the biggest drinking colleges. There are people who left Muhlenberg to go to Penn State because Muhlenberg was too heavy on drinking. That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
But I avoided it, completely. And still to this day, I'm 46 and I've never. And my therapist is like, maybe once in a while it could really help you loosen up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But like you were saying, it's so much easier to say no than sometimes. I'm so much more comfortable living in that extreme of just, I don't do this, rather than this nebulous, I do it every now and then and it's fine. And I often wish I could live in the sometimes. I think I'm an addict in the other way. Do you know what I mean? I'm addicted to
that control.
No. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think that I am just more comfortable being a little bit apart from stuff. And I don't want to join. One of my biggest regrets is that like I struggle to look at the other musicians when I am playing with them, and I think I don't know what that is. Well, that might be a separate thing, but I'm more comfortable just being I just don't want to be controlled, kind of. Mm-hmm. And so the alcohol, it was like my own trip. And now that I don't do that trip, like I still continue with other trips. I'd still take other drugs and nothing that is out of control or that would be addictive. Although I smoke pot. I started smoking pot during COVID. I started growing marijuana, and that was something I'd never done in my whole life. And I probably smoke too much pot now, I vape it. And, that was something leading up to this. I was like, I wonder if Gabe's how Gabe's going to feel about that. But
I thought you were going to say, I wonder if Gabe's going to be high too.
No, I'm not high. But no, just wondering your feelings on that. But it's been this beautiful part of my life learning to do that. Although if I could snap my fingers and have it disappear, I think I would. Mm-hmm. Alcohol made me feel. It made what was in front of me feel closer, and made everything else feel further away. Marijuana makes everything feel further away, and yes, it makes me a little care less, but I'm not looking to care less about everything. I'm not looking for ambivalence. I'm not looking for that phone to be ringing and for me to have to decide whether I care enough to answer it. I want to care. So there is some part of me that questions cannabis for that. But it's where I am right now in this journey of life.
And
You
I
know?
was just going to say that, like, it's a journey, and a
It
year
really
from
is.
now or
Yep,
2.5 years from now, you may feel different and you may make a different choice, or maybe not. But like,
absolutely.
as far as how Gabe feels about, who fucking cares? Like, you know what I mean? But like, now that you know that I'm like a complete abstainer, like
Yeah.
okay, I've never done that either. But what I will say is that part of my journey as just a human being evolving and working in the mental health system and having a variety of different friends, some who use marijuana, some who don't. I mean, I was in Florida a couple of years ago working on an old VW with a guy who woke up, lit up immediately, and smoked all day and all night. Paul, I'm like, he was never without it.
Fair.
And I was down there for like a week and or more, and I was probably almost just as high as him just from
Yeah.
like just being
Contact
around it.
wise, yeah.
So like
Yeah.
honestly, I I have had to step out of my rigidity as a human being and what I expect and demand of myself, and
Hmm.
not be so rigid with other people, and understand that everybody's experiencing life differently. And, it's not for me to impose myself on others. And I used to be very judgy, in the way that you had like judgmental thoughts about sober people. I mean, I had judgmental thoughts
Hmm.
about people who use.
Hmm.
And it honestly, I think I really started loosening up when I started working at a psychiatric hospital and getting exposed to so much of life from patients,
Yeah.
so much of life from my colleagues, many of whom had very different life experiences from me, and really just kind of growing the fuck up. Um, that has helped, and I'm not done yet, obviously, but it's it's a
That's lovely,
process.
man. It really is. And your ambitions, one's ambitions seem to shift, or mine have as well. Like, I'm just looking for peace these days. I mean, I just turned 50, and people keep telling me I've got like all these chapters left. And but there's a lot of noise in my head about like shoulda, coulda, like
Hmm.
born with some amount of talent, some amount yeah, and I don't know. I think a lot of that leads to self-criticism for me. And I'm just trying to be peaceful and to have my home feel safe and not be judgmental of, last night I was at a band rehearsal and someone was being an asshole. And
Hmm.
I just, and this person has been an asshole repeatedly. And I just try to look at them and say, God dang, like, what is making this person be an asshole?
Yeah.
Like, what are they struggling with? You know?
It's the old trope about the bullies, right?
Yeah.
They're doing it because their life is fucked up. But it takes
Yeah,
a lot to have empathy for that.
it does. It just this, and life is just fast. It feels faster, harder, less forgiving, more unkind, more expensive, fewer options. Like, there's just fewer places to walk down to the water and put your feet in for free.
Hmm.
Like, because all the waterfront is bought.
Yeah.
And, I had this sad thing. I was walking with my daughter like a month ago, and she said, Dad, how many people, she's 9, she said, how many people die every second? And I don't know, Siri, how many people die every second? And it was like, I think it was like 2.0 or something like that.
Hmm.
She said, how many people are born every second? It was like 4.1. That ruined that walk. Well, it's like, no wonder there's no place to put your feet in.
Yeah.
As we all spread across. Now, granted, I was wise enough to later look that up again and find out that a lot of that isn't happening in this country. That disparity. I mean, there is still some disparity, but that just oh man, I don't know what we're talking about a little bit, but like it just leads to anxiety. It leads to like,
Yeah.
Everyone in this world is trying to like protect theirs and don't tread on mine and all this crap. And it feels like you have to search harder than you used to for that peace. And I don't know, man, when I walk by bars and see people all inside there and the bars are crowded, who are these people? Like, who are they in there? That this is part of their lives and that they can manage to pay for this, and where are their children? More power to them, for starters, in one way or another, like if they're enjoying themselves, by all means. But I struggle. I haven't, part of it, Gabe, was like, I just like, when my hands went all weird, like I didn't lose my hands. We were just trying to get my hands better again. So at any moment, they could get better again. So I couldn't turn the page in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because, wait, maybe tomorrow will be better. And so here we are. It's been 13 years, and like they're still weird in a lot of ways. And I still haven't fully turned the page in some regard. I wonder sometimes like, if I had lost all my hair, or if I had gained 100 pounds, and I looked nothing like what I looked like when I was, or I looked a lot further away from what I looked like when I was 30. Like, would the physical evidence help us graduate and help me graduate and move on and say, see, look. Instead, I still just feel a little chained to the past in some regards. And I just keep chopping at those chains going, wait a minute, I don't even want that back there. I don't want it. It's not even the same world anymore.
No, it's not.
So, yeah, try to smile at things.
That's right, and that's part of the
really
title of your essay.
That.
Smiling and waving back.
Honestly, man, I think that was said in a curmudgeon voice.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd like to hear that curmudgeon voice when you read it aloud.
Okay.
I have a question about grief and loss.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we think about grief and loss like about people and, who have passed away, or pets or whatever. But like, in preparation for this interview, I did something that I should have done back in 2018 when I was working on your essay, and it just did not occur to me to do it for some stupid reason, but to listen to some of your music. And I was listening to some of your music. I was watching videos on YouTube, and I was watching Greenville. It was a recording of you in London, I think, at a sculpture museum 14 years ago. And it was so beautiful. And I couldn't help but think about grief and loss of like a part of you.
Yeah.
And it's very, very real. And I grieve parts of me that are gone for various reasons, creative parts that I've left behind. And I think everybody copes with it in different ways. And I don't know. I just want to hear from you about that.
It's just been this never-ending process. Like I said, like there is some part of me that realizes that these things are not returning. That being said, I just played 2 days ago the first show real show that I've done in 10 years, like 2 days ago in Texas for like, wow, a couple hundred people. And Devin made me do it. My wife made me do it. Mm-hmm. She organized a band, and like they played all the they all like played all my parts, because I can play for like 5 minutes. And then I hurt so bad I have to put it down. So I still record and release 2 songs a month. But I can't practice, or I can't play a show. So other people were playing, and I just sang, and it was It was also the first time my 9-year-old daughter had ever seen me do that.
Wow, my God. That's okay. Take your time.
So, yeah. It's just been something I've been trying to work through. But like I was talking about, like the ambiguity of not knowing if it's going to get better. That's a real setback. That's a real difficult thing. I mean, even just a month ago, I managed to get back on the horse with a set of doctors who were sort of talking about a joint replacement. So to this day, I'm much better, just so you know. It's just one finger, which strangely enough is my middle left finger is where it all began. That's where I woke up that day and was like, what's wrong with my finger? And so every other pain in my body has moved, come and gone. It's just completely, it follows a certain pattern, all but one. And that's this one. And I think there's probably some tiny thing wrong, physically wrong inside, but they haven't been able to figure it out. Anyway, so yeah, I was just on the horse again toward a joint replacement and just had that door slammed in my face yet again. You know, it's like you climb aboard, it takes a couple of months to get to see the right people, and okay, now we're having all the meetings and now they're getting back to you, and then boom, I'm sorry, we can't help. And then it takes like another 6 months to kind of get back on that horse to be able to deal with another one of those.
Yeah, because it's a blow.
Yeah, it is a blow. And then, and throughout that, you know, you're saying like, well, what do I really want? Maybe I should just be a painter. You know, I sure like watching pictures of people painting outside. They look like they're having a nice day. They're having a nice day. And I do like to paint, but I don't need to paint.
Mm-hmm.
And and so, yeah. And so I just haven't like found that thing where it's like firing from so many different angles at once, like music was. And where I was also funny on stage and like dynamic and, excuse me, and just a little wild. And it was like a coincidence that a few people liked it. It was just like this bonus that somehow they liked it when I got up and went for it.
Yeah, because that's real. And everybody is looking for something to connect with. And whether it's humor or artistry, creativity, sensitivity, that's what people are going to grab hold of.
Yeah. In preparation for this show that I had this month, you know, where Devin had to learn, my wife had to learn all the guitar parts. She was playing the guitar. And this was the first month I didn't release a song on Patreon. Instead, I released this long prose piece. And when I'm writing prose, it comes fast. It still comes easily. And I know it's better than what I'm about to read for you. I know I've gotten better. It's less clunky. It's less nitty-gritty tactile. It's tactile in a good way, but I don't know, it's just smoother. It's going to be calmer. My stuff now is calmer than what that is going to be. I know it because I'm less angry now. But anyway, we have a lot of shit going on at our house. There's this huge construction site in the backyard that's going to be here for 4 years. And like, we're looking to move now because there's always beeping and like all this shit. And I was a mess last month. My body was falling apart. I had hemorrhoids that were so bad that if I talked about them, I vomited. I vomited on the phone with the nurse, and the nurse was insisting I go to the emergency room because she thought I was like bleeding from the inside. And when I was trying to tell her, no, it just happens if I talk about anything with guts, your guts, my guts, his guts, any guts, I can't talk about it. And like, she was like, now that I've recommended the ER, you cannot get a regular appointment. So I hung up and called back and got a regular appointment. But anyway, all that to say that I was really sharing in this prose. Like it was not going to wasn't sure it was going to do anyone else any favors, this prose. But it was doing me a favor to write it. And I was forgiving myself for writing it. And even though it might be a little clunky in spots, and it got a lot fewer likes than my normal songs, or even when I write a funny piece or something like that. Yep. And that's totally okay that that my bloody hemorrhoid piece got fewer likes than the one about my daughter singing.
What I say to people, I used to act. It's one of the things I've kind of left behind. And sometimes we have outnumbered the audience, the actors on stage, or like if we're doing a film screening for Recovery Diaries and not a lot of people show up, you can get really disappointed and upset about it, or you can tell yourself, whoever's there needs to be there.
Yeah.
And they're going to get the same show that 1,000 people would get, or, it doesn't matter. The people who are reading that piece, they're there for a reason, and, they're being moved by it. And I can't think of a better way to get back into prose and get into your essay from way back when.
Okay.
And it is called 5 Years of Sobriety, now 13. Smiling and waving and looking so fine. Ready when you are, Paul.
All right. I don't carry around a 5-year AA chip, but I am still married. And this morning, I woke up at 6:15 a.m. Devin was already with Ray because currently that's how we do it. And the morning sun was pushing through the arc of trees out back, the trees I loved so much upon first seeing them that I'd actually run from the bottom of the yard and into the kitchen to whisper, I think we should buy it. So the sun behind the trees was casting the wildest shadows up the walls of our bedroom, and I could never decide if it'd look good if I traced those shadows like those and then painted them in permanently. Either way, I definitely lay there and kick it around. And I kick around whether I'd appreciate the shadows as much without the sound of Devin and Ray in the kitchen. I wonder if Devin and Ray would be even there in that. I wonder if Devin and Ray would even be out there in the kitchen, or if I'd have a kitchen, if I'd be awake or alone or alive at this hour to dig the shadows at all, if I hadn't stopped drinking 5 years ago this May 19th. Because I really don't know, and I really haven't decided how I feel about it one way or the other. As the 5-fucking-year mark approached, I considered writing something. But sincerely, what a slog. Yeah, well, what if I'm not comfortable with being an inspiration? Because what if I'm not entirely sold on not drinking? Does anybody need to read my personal expansion of that? And no matter what, I certainly wouldn't want to be someone's romantic excuse for excess. But look at him. But it has been 5 years. Sure, thanks. It's been 5 years since I didn't drink one night on May 19th, 2013. I'd lost my voice a few months prior. My left hand was throbbing so bad I couldn't sleep. My entire shit was evaporating like Michael J. Fox. I was just getting acquainted with rock bottom when one day, May 18th night, Devin and I strolled into a rough patch too, and my foundation crumbled and dropped even lower. Partially to show I meant business about saving our marriage, and partially to lower my odds of being overly dramatic and killing myself, I stopped drinking the next day. There was no plan. It was just, I'm not drinking today, and probably not tomorrow. 5 years. People still ask if it was difficult to quit. Physically, it wasn't at all, which I admit was a relief. I think it took a little bit longer to fall asleep that first night, and that was that. Psychologically, it also wasn't a problem, but maybe I had special circumstances. Everything was happening at once. Repairing my marriage was distracting me from the utter sorrow of losing the guitar, my career. Not playing guitar instantly ate my self-worth and confidence, which led me to stay home, avoiding the hyper-hip Austin bars. Avoiding bars helped me avoid booze, and people playing guitars helped me avoid who I think I used to be. When one string is out of tune, it's all you can hear. When all the strings are broken, you don't even think about individual strings anymore. No, I never went to any meetings. Actually, Devin did drag me to one, a group meeting for addict musicians, but I didn't fit in. Those poor folks, they were there to dodge heavy, heavy drugs, and I mean dodge them at that very minute. They were fighting on an hour-to-hour basis. I actually didn't even get to talk. The way we were seated, Devin got called on before I did. She introduced herself and then began, "Yeah, okay, I probably have about 2 drinks per night." And then she started to cry. I tried to interject to clarify why we were there, but the group leader, ironically also Devin's counselor at the time, made clear that I should shut my ass. And then we were out of time. We didn't go back. I still wonder if anyone there remembers that pretty young woman who was struggling with her 2 drinks per night. Really early on, someone gave me an AA handbook. I don't even remember who. It sat on top of a wobbly dresser for a few weeks until I decided to use it to prop steady that wobbly dresser. All I remember is I didn't feel bad. If you're a musician in Austin, the city pays for your health care. No shit. And I'm not talking about ER visits to get your stomach pumped. I'm talking the works. Your GP, all the specialists, physical therapy, acupuncture, drugs, ER visits to get your stomach pumped, the works. So I was seeing a counselor at the time, as I was for the bulk of the time I was there. He was a recovered addict himself. And maybe he wasn't busting open the walls of my brain, but he was a solid and sympathetic listener. He repeatedly told me I'd eventually have to take the time to mourn the loss of my guitar. I stopped seeing him when he fell off his own wagon, dodging 2 weeks of our sessions and then showing up high to the next. So I wrote him a goodbye letter. "I'm not going to rat you out," I said, "but you need to cancel all appointments. You helped me, and here's how. Thanks for having that power, and sincere good luck in relocating that power." It got harder after that. I don't mean after splitting with the counselor. In fact, I saw several more. One in particular was convinced my depression and anxiety stemmed from surely having been abused as a child, or at least was PTSD from some ferociously squashed trauma. When repeated eye movement desensitization and reprocessing sessions yielded nothing, he actually got pissed off and pouted in his tie-dye, so I stopped seeing him. Anyhow, it got harder in the years that follow, and harder still today. The longer I don't drink, the longer I stayed in, the longer I didn't dive into pools with my clothes on, or spontaneously jump on stage, or ha-ha, holy shit, late with folks with my whole body, or tell a friend I love them, the less I could. To be sure, there were upsides too. As any tone-deaf Christian pamphlet, any sparky member of the PTA, any random Dr. Doll, as any Girl Scout at the door will tag along, you'll shed some nasties, and quickly. No more breath like a factory smokestack, venting the cranking and processing of your guts. No more night sweats. No more constant guilt of disappointing folks, fairly or not. And so much less to conceal the fat face that gives you away, the money situation, your true mood on the occasions when you're feeling downright poisoned. One of my personal favorites, ditching the basic matter of moderation, so endless, so boring, so open for dispute. None is far easier to conceptualize than maybe a few now and then sometimes. A quick aside. One day I was at the doctor in Austin. This was before I stopped, and the nurse, one of several trans Latina nurses at the office, was asking the normal questions. Drugs? No. Smoke? An e-cig. Okay. Drink? Yeah. Drink a lot? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much? I guess it varies. She said, considering her clipboard. Would you say you drink a shit ton? Did you say a shit ton? Yes. I don't know. How much is a shit ton? Like 13 or more a day? Oh, then no. I guess I don't drink a shit ton. I can't wait to tell my wife. So the more time goes by, the more folks grow accustomed to your not drinking. The stiffer the blathering headwind, the bigger the pile of rubble if you start it again. It's a sneaky transition, but at some point you realize their expectations have flipped. The momentum flips. Gravity seems to flip. Like you'd been inching your way up a roller coaster hill for months, for years. Meanwhile, people bump around the world raising kids, changing their car oil every 3,000 miles, and then one sleepy Sunday their pastor says something that reminds them of you, and they stop listening to the pastor and they think of you. Notice that they haven't heard anything terrible in months, in years, and they decide it's safe to assume that you're surely zooming down the fun bit of that roller coaster by now. These summary sentences belong above, but I can't hang out in that paragraph anymore. That progression is for real and constant. So is weighing one's energy for interacting with, illuminating, or disrupting the social order, whether you've got the pluck to turn around and walk the wrong way up the busy escalator. Tending a small fire of resentment towards one's people is part of the dealio. Everybody gets to be so thankful, and you get to maintain like 7% consta mad. I'm kidding. More like 3%. Devin and I ate dinner at C&O, it's a fancy restaurant, the other night. A deeply civilized joint where I spent many a Cosmo evening by the fish tank solo or with buddies in the corner, a couple different girlfriends, cigarette smoke, scotch mostly. Maybe they still do, but the Rick Oliveira's trio used to push tables aside and really go for it, transport the place, make you imagine everybody gets their own heaven when they die. I saw Sissy Spacek in there, Rita Mae Brown, and, inconceivably, Wallace Shawn. Ducking and dodging all this the other night, looking around, I saw zero indication of sadness. And I know I'm waxing romantique, duh, but same goes for the Irish pub whose big windows I pass a lot downtown. Just folks enjoying an evening, like kids in movies, hanging out before the internet. Seriously, wouldn't everyone live differently if it weren't for their loved ones? I'm not suggesting the idea is much deeper than a fortune cookie, but I guess I am asking. Some of us would eat more if it didn't make us fat. Some would fuck more if it didn't make us single. For my entire adult life, and way lucidly in the past 5 years, I've daydreamed a sort of sandpapery twin out there in the distance. A scabrous, gnarly cowboy out the window of a train, racing along, making the choices I didn't. Our two paths aren't exactly parallel, but at any given moment, close enough to get a look. Sometimes he's calm, lives in Hawaii, runs a little business. Sometimes he's furious, lives in New Orleans, though not for very long. Either way, he's usually alone. Either way, he always drinks. For better and worse, alcohol fit into my worldview, or my life view. I picture two sine waves phased just right. I associated it with both the earth and the air, both a blooming and a noble destruction. At its best, appreciating alcohol's magic and complexity and deliciousness was an important component of appreciating life. At its worst, too important. I took very few sips, swigs, or glugs lightly, nor for granted. I don't know, maybe a crackhead would say the same. Anyhow, I'm not saying it's essential for everyone's life. Neither is having children, making the team, seeing Japan. But man, did it groove with mine. Solo, I can't relax enough to fully enjoy people. I can't slow down enough to truly sag into a story, your song. I can't sense the past surrounding us. All the stuff that came and went and made now, made me here with you. All the shadows breathing up and down like the spray of waves above the edge of a levee. It's not that I'm miserable. I'm just abbreviated.
You doing okay?
Yep. One sec.
Sure.
This shit is wordy. If I asked, you'd probably say something kind like, it'll get easier with time. I would have expected that too. But it hasn't been my experience. Instead, the effect of not being able to hear Led Zeppelin quite the same is degenerative, of sitting at a stoplight without the flicker of a recently enthused mind, of not periodically looking out the window of a calmed mind. Scar tissue builds and functions stiffen, headlights oxidize. Then one day you realize you're living in a skim milk version of the present, a catch that lamp, it's falling version of the present. What a drag. If anything, the present should be the most dimensional moment of all. But there you are, catching a lamp, putting a lamp back up, without a blip of context or greater significance. Time stands still, and yet somehow I always feel late. meditation. A 12-week course, then several months of dissatisfied practice. Yoga? Stop it. Weed? Oh man, right? Maybe I shouldn't get into this, but if I don't, you're going to suggest it. Why marijuana doesn't do it for me, I'll never understand. But for the past 10 years, using, yes, a variety of forms, methods, strains, maybe once a month. I've tried and failed. Failed? I'm talking full body tension, staring sleepless at the ceiling, or catatonically apathetic, staring at a ringing phone. Whoa. Or physically clobbered, incapable of balance. Perhaps my low blood pressure? I even went to the emergency room a year ago because I thought I was having a stroke. I woke up and couldn't walk, talk, and the left side of my body was paralyzed. This was 6 hours after partaking. Only later did I connect the dots. On paper, in the movies, in my friends' lives, it looks exactly like my magic carpet landing pad. Googling allergic to weed gets you people talking about sneezing. Am I too old to say no fair? Maybe next month. Speaking of fair, as kids, my uncle used to razz my mom. You better watch out. You only get so many words and then you die. Ah, the beautiful silence. Devin and I have been known to joke that maybe people only get so many glasses of wine. And I've got no one but myself to blame for not spreading mine out better. Like, if I hadn't been such a pig about it, maybe right this minute I'd be checking yes +1 to your summer fun Evite. If maybe I'd played it cooler. If enough had been a lower number. There's probably something to that. I'm not talking about turning 8 into 1, but maybe like 8 into 5? Christ, I'm struggling to type another sentence after that. A lot happened in those last 3 glasses. And maybe that's it. That hesitation. Maybe that's it. That hesitation is the short of the long. Maybe that's the sound of the car's squeaky brakes pulling back into the driveway. A melancholic meander around the old neighborhood. Out to the country straights where the motorcycle used to hit 100. Back into town. Down Main Street where so much has changed. Turn off the radio, click, and nope. Still defensive about turning 8 hypothetical drinks into 5. Wow. Is that scrappy stance still current, still me, or is this just left over? Because sometimes you have to tell an old joke to know it doesn't work anymore. Maybe it'll be different now. Maybe after a 5-year timeout as a homeowner and a father, humbled and reassembled. Maybe I'll go out to that musty shed with another dad guy, and we'll just totally renovate the space. We could do it on a weekend. Look how nicely our daughters play. Maybe, but maybe not too. And what if not? There's real fear. A whole lot of these daydream debates slide off the rails. I admit I almost always envision the loss of stuff first. The house, the studio and gear, the yard and the trees, the shadows on the walls. Flickering visions of my elbows on a small table alone in my apartment behind the Target. Stuff cut in half. Second comes the catalog of deeper, priceless loss. Slow, just for a moment, always Devin's face. From there it just bursts, gushes with such pressure, and there's a loss of pressure in the cabin, and we're going down as a flip book tells a single story in an instant. There's real fear. So here we are, home again from a drive, back home from a walk around the loop. I'm not drinking tonight and probably not tomorrow. All this, and I'm still too polite to tell you how angry I am. All this, and I'm still too proud to tell you how thankful I am. One last thing. About a year ago, my extraordinarily chill younger brother Matt was walking around our studio, checking stuff out and reconsidering all the choices he's ever made in his entire life. "Oh, man," he playfully whined. "I wish my wife would let me buy tons of stuff." "Oh, dude," I said, "it's easy. All you do is you drink a whole lot of wine pretty much every day for years and years and years, like at least a decade. And then, kind of out of nowhere, you just stop doing that. And after that, they're just super thankful, and you can buy loads of stuff. It requires a bit of a long game, no doubt, but it seems to work." Is that the end? I think that's the end.
The end.
I
Thank you
did my
so much
best
for
with it.
going back in time. You did beautifully
Oh,
for going back in time to that piece. What was that like for you?
oh yeah, it was emotional. It really, some of it still feels so fresh. Some of it is, I read some things that I've already said to you.
Mm-hmm.
There are still some go-to sentences within me, that were go-tos for me even these 8 years ago. At the same time, I am less angry than I was in this. All of it feels much further away to me now than this. Yeah. And that's
Can you
that's a good
y-
thing,
can you
mostly.
talk a little bit about the anger? Because anger
Mm-hmm.
frightens me, and my anger frightens me. Other people's anger frightens me. Sometimes I'm angry and I don't even know what it's about. And I'm wondering just about your thoughts about anger in general, and if
Yeah.
what the anger that you were feeling as you were writing that piece was about. Was it about
I
that
think it's
I have to be?
yeah, it was like I can remember this things got worse. Shortly after this was COVID, or 2 years after this, I guess, was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And our daughter was like 2 at the time, and our family did a real hardcore COVID experience. Not by my choice necessarily. But anyway, it was extremely low time. I got down to like 125 pounds. And I just remember this resentment toward 3 people: my mother, my wife, and my daughter, that I had to keep living for these people, and that I had to do it their way. That was, and it was just all felt really unfair, like that I didn't have my thing anymore. Like, and I hadn't found a new thing. And there's some part of me that's still, I know for a fact that we're all on our own journey and that we're all struggling. And I really do believe that, the most confident person driving their stupid Rivian has their issues,
Even the Cybertruck people. I
Yes.
mean, they have
They
plenty
have
of issues,
lots of
but yeah.
Oh, but there's still like there's some part of me that feels like I came crashing down to earth, and like meanwhile everyone had been like progressing their thing, and like I just can't catch up. Like I feel
Yeah.
like 10 years behind and counting. And I don't want to live in this house in this suburb, like being part of the traffic. I can't complain about the traffic. I am part of it. And for so long in my life, I wasn't part of the traffic. I was just not driving at those hours, literally and metaphorically.
Right.
And now I'm more part of the traffic, and I'm trying to make peace with the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't always jive with how I think life should feel. Yeah. And, but it doesn't serve me, that anger. I'm trying to relinquish telling people to, politely as I do it, telling people to be quiet. It's just become such a thing. Like that people who's like are blasting music out of their side of their house, I will go knock on their door. Like if I can hear it inside my house, or just just being sensitive to sonic space, people banging weights at the gym. But like, and it's not working. No matter how kindly I go up to these guys and say, God, you guys seem like you're having an awesome time. And I'm almost jealous of how good of a time you're having. But like, if you don't mind, it's kind of like hard when banging the weights and like, because our world, everyone starts on top of this defensive hill now. The moment a stranger approaches them, they're like, wait, what? Who are you? Huh? You know? And when I was 20, if someone older than me came up and said, hey guys, you know, la la la, my reaction would be, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You know, like, and I felt like that's how we were kind of societally. We were like working to jive with our community. And now all our communities are online and mean, and, you know, everyone is another.
And our communities are online and they're very siloed.
Yes.
You know, these are my people. We feel the same way about a lot of things. We don't disagree in here. The disagreements happen out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the reason that I'm trying to stop doing it is not just that it's not working very well. It's that I know that some part of me is angry. And that even if I try to put on a polite face, I am responding to my anger about other shit than what is happening in front of me at that moment. It's the construction out back is pissing me off. So now I'm talking to the guys at the gym.
Right.
And
right.
So yeah, I'm just trying to shed that. I really, really wish that as I have a Monday therapist and a Tuesday therapist, and my Monday therapist is like a hardcore Buddhist, and he would just really love if that stuff resonated with me, as would my mother. She's a Buddhist too, but I'm struggling to join, just like I'm struggling to join the Tai Chi class that Devin always wants me to take.
Well, I think some amount of anger is going to be there, and it's something that I think we all have to live with, like a certain amount of that, right? And that it doesn't always go where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I remember when I used to work at this psych hospital and we did this group on mindfulness, and I would tell the patients, wherever you are, be there. And we were talking about like getting, super, super lost and freaking out about the future, or getting really depressed, thinking about the past and regret. And it's like, you're here. And it's a really hard thing to tell people who are locked in a hospital to be at peace with where you are in this very moment. Like, this is where you are. 60, 70% of you are here involuntarily. The rest of you felt that you needed to be here. The big percentage felt like you didn't need to be here, and you're here anyway. But wherever you are, just be here and be part of the traffic if that's where you are at this moment, right? And being angry, feeling that, be there in that, I know that for me, so much of the turmoil inside of my own head is being upset about having thoughts that I'm having, or being upset about where I am in life right now.
Yeah.
And we can do all of that and be upset with that, or we can be there. And I'm trying my best at that. It's very hard.
I see people who put up these walls to protect themselves, and I'm certainly guilty of this. But at least I'm cognizant of them not working. That you put up these walls to defend yourself. Let me keep out that noise. Let me stay away from the people who make me feel like this, because and when there's a breach, it's way worse because you're like not used to it. You haven't seen that. Plus, like, your whole defensive has failed. It's like chaos. And even if there's not a breach, you're always worried about a breach. And it's like that. What am I doing? It's like, am I putting up all these walls to be safe? And now I'm more scared than ever.
Right. And walls keep people out, right? And we want to bring people in, and it's
Yeah,
hard
it
because
is hard.
we're scared of getting hurt, right?
Hmm.
And of letting the wrong people in. Um, who's going to affect me negatively? Am I going to affect them negatively? But one of the things that I love about the work that we do at Recovery Diaries is we bring people in, people like you, who
Hmm.
are then vulnerable on the site, and that brings people in. Either they're readers, they turn into writers for us,
Hmm.
they share the thing with someone else. It's it's I feel like these essays and the films that we make and the podcast, they're all about bringing down the walls.
Hmm.
Because I think so many people are walking around with so many walls up and so many guards up, and who's going to judge me and who's going to stigmatize me and who's going to look down on me because I have mental illness, because I have co-occurring substance abuse, because of I'm a trauma survivor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, I think that you, through your essay, and through the work that you're doing now, you're bringing walls down. And I think it's a really lovely thing. So I hope you can let that in and recognize that.
Thank you. I'll try, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And
I
I
do.
just keep doing what you're doing, and congratulations on 13 years. And I'm just so grateful to you for being a part of our community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me and for allowing me to giving me a little bit of space to revisit some of this stuff. And it was hard to revisit it, but also it was a bit of a pleasure to see some of the progress that just happens through time and through just continuing to smile at stuff and just, all right, here we go again. Here we go again. Not going to drink today and probably not tomorrow. And there's some stuff that needs doing today. And let's try and do it. And look at that cloud.
I love it. Hello, cloud. Thank you, Paul.
Sure, man.
Thank you again for joining us in conversation today. It's beautiful to see the progression of our contributors. We are so grateful to Paul Curreri, multi-talented, extraordinary human being. Paul was an internationally heralded guitarist and singer for years, releasing 9 albums under his own name and producing lots more for other artists. In 2013, he developed hand issues, which dramatically changed his life, also changing his life, quitting drinking, as we know. Now he teaches painting, makes videos, runs sound, and produces for others. He's also on patreon.com/Devin and Paul. Before we leave you, we want to remind you to check out our website, recoverydiaries.org. There, like this podcast, you'll find additional stories, videos, and content about mental health, empowerment, and change. We look forward to continuing to grow our community. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We wouldn't be here without you. Be sure to join our mailing list so you never miss a podcast episode, essay, or film. I'm Gabe Nathan. Until next time, take good care.